Hi, everybody. It is Mrs. Mozingo, and I am here to talk a little bit about coils, coil making. What I've got here, one of my younger grades, they are starting to learn a little bit about the coil process. And we're starting to learn about the color wheel. We're learning about Roy G. Biv, all kinds of good stuff like that in the spectrum of color. But Roy G. Biv, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet, all of those things coming together along with clay hand building techniques. So I'm going to show you really briefly how we do it. So we talk about getting the clay, water, and dirt essentially kind of mixed together. Okay. And then we talk about this idea of additive and subtractive. I'm subtracting the clay for this hand building technique. And first thing, I'm going to go ahead and start to roll a coil. Now, coil is essentially a little clay snake. We talk about it being even all the way across. So I'm just moving my hands kind of back and forth. Those of you that have made pie crust before maybe know some of these techniques. I feel like they're kind of similar. Okay, and all of us have this clay tray that usually has our name and whatever grade and class code, day of the week. Okay, so I'm going to start to create like a half oval, an arch. Okay. So the great thing about this particular project, again, it gets the kids' hands moving, and I feel like post-COVID, that's really important. And it helps them to figure out size relationships, how they can master the clay. A lot of times as they're working, they're like, it's a little bit too dry. Cracks start to appear, because as soon as clay is exposed to air, it will start to dry out. Okay, that's why our fingers feel so dry too. Now, this is again, it's about size relationships. So, how might we, and flexible thinking. I think that's a big part of this. So, I've got my two coils. We talked about for Roy G. Biv, there needs to be 7 coils total. So, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to keep going. Okay, I'm going to roll out my clay. Now, kids will also, again, space perception, size relationships. So I tell them to, make one, and then if it's shorter, they can start to go on the inside. If it's longer, they can start to go on the outside. All right. And generally, they should be about the same size, roughly. I'm starting to see a part that is kind of troubling me a little bit. So, okay, there we go. Better now. Okay, so I've got those 3 coils going on. Here we go. Let's do a little bit more. Okay, keep going. Back and forth. This one looks like it'll go on the inside. So right about this time, I start to ask them, okay, I've got 4. How many more do I need? 3. Okay, so I'll actually use the shorty, use it again. Now, I've started to show them how to trim, to kind of cut some of these to be a little bit more even as well. That can be integrated into my extra clay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2 to go. Here we go. I'm gonna roll this one. Okay, now, also this is a time for me to educate kids about firing the clay. We're using white earthenware clay. Now, it doesn't look white, it looks gray, and that's because it is full of water. But once it gets fired, it turns bright white like this. We write their names on the back. Okay, and you can see on maybe some of my other ones, I wrote it in pencil there. Sometimes it's carved in there. So, and then we've put holes at the top for it to even be hung up. We used to do 2, now we only do 1, so you can hang it if you'd like to. Okay. So this can be easily repaired. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, 1 to go. Now, the very last step after we've rolled all of our coils is to start to bind them together. We didn't do the score slip seal technique, mainly because it would take a little bit longer at this particular grade level, and they're going to do one technique at the end that will, oh, that was pretty good. Okay, it's like I've done this before or something. Okay, so they've got it all together. Now we're going to blend, and preferably using their thumb. And this is when I can tell if kids, again, how strong their thumbs are. Okay, and again, everything that we're doing in terms of hand building is going to help kids with their drawing. It's going to help them with their writing, because strong fingers can hold the pencil a little bit better. It'll help with their endurance, their stamina. Okay, so there we go. So we're just trying to blend these all the way across so they stay together in the end. We're trying to blend it so it doesn't ruin the integrity of the top part of the coil right there too. There we go. Okay, so now it takes about 3 to 5 days for these to dry, depending how thick it is. We'll pop it in the kiln to about 1800 degrees. When it comes out, it'll look like this, and then we'll watercolor them and then put a little bit of Mod Podge over the top for a clear finish. All right, thanks for visiting. Let's get crazy.